Pink Cloud Radio 60. And in this whole thing, I talked about original sin last time and expecting mistakes. Saying drama. This is the new one. Saying drama when someone is explaining to you who they are. And arguing can lead somewhere else unless squeezed by others as drama. It becomes ludicrous to be who you are with certain people, as criticizing your character is all they do with words like drama. There's always drama with emotions. There's always drama with this or that, the other. Everyone tries to pin crack everything, to say everything is drama because they don't want to deal with you as a person. And I think that's what I've learned throughout the years of what I've experienced with friendships failing, relationships failing, stuff like that. What I've learned is even though I change, it doesn't change how another person thinks of me. So, even my approach being different each time. My approach being different each time does nothing. That's why I stopped. Not because, you gotta change it a little bit and try again. Been doing that for years. Doesn't work. It doesn't work if a person doesn't care about you. It doesn't work if they're not emotionally connected or don't even care to be emotional at all. Don't even care about their emotions. Don't even care about your emotions. Don't even care about anything at all in that sphere. How can I possibly have any idea of what that means if they don't want to do that step? It doesn't make sense. To try for something that is as ludicrous as sex and options, I get that through a TV, I get that through porn on the internet. If I wanted that so much, I can get it there. And I do. I don't lie, I do. So, if I only want that, why the fuck wouldn't I just say that? Let's see. And that's what I mean by saying drama. This causes so much drama. Maybe because you don't want to deal with something. I think that's what really drama is. When you really come down to it, drama is the word that describes anything a person truly doesn't want to deal with. So what I've experienced in my lifetime was never drama. It ended. There was no drama. There was the fact that one person wanted it their way, so they waited until they could talk about what they wanted to say. Preferably to ignore what you wanted to say. What I wanted to say, for example. Well, no, of course no, Marcello. I can't hear you. What you have to say, I don't care about your 2 cents, because you say too many real things that, that I never will acknowledge. Even though I know that I should, and I shouldn't get a headache out of it. But I do. And I think that's what I've learned in this whole thing. Being who I am in life has just kind of separated what other people want to be. Being the death king, I'm not afraid of love, therefore I'm not afraid of death. And that has something to do with Satan or some other bullshit like that. Like most people say, oh, that's from the devil. No, it's not. Death wasn't created by the devil. I can tell you that much. If we're going to use religion, we're going to say it this way. God did that. He, no matter what, if he created everything, that means he created the repercussions for everything too. Which means that he already had it in mind that we would die if we didn't listen to 100%. And I think that's what really drama is, really. When people don't get their way 100%, they start saying, oh, why do you make so much drama? Marcello, why do you make so much drama? Because you don't want to talk? Let's see. How much more can I deal with? I'm a person who doesn't need people to go on a two-way street. You could go on as many streets as you like. I don't care. But you have to be able to go on that one street with me when we're talking. If you're not able to, if you want to have a different personality right when we're talking about something important, even though you're not that way all the time, but all of a sudden your personality goes in that sphere, bye-bye. It's either 0 or 1,000,000. We're going to go all the way with this talk, or we're going to go with 0 talk, and I'm not going to talk. It's pretty useless to talk if you're going to tell me, well, I'm going to ignore that point because I want to bring up this right here, or I want to engage you, with volatile speech and make you squeal. Buddy, then you're withdrawn. You're the drama queen. I wish I could be. I wish I could be that, just as much as when I've heard people say like, all men are assholes, or other ones such as like, oh, if if it worked out with my ex or some other stuff like that, it's that you're being so strong right there. I wish I could be that strong. I wish I could just forget about my emotions. I wish I could just forget about my feelings, emotion sensitivities, and just say that, and just be that strong and upset. Like, I wish I could live with that 100%, like you are right now, but I'm not into that drama. I want to deal with something, I want to deal with it together. You know? But if you don't want to deal with it together, whether it's drama or not, then you don't want to make a good relationship happen. Because you would never see it as drama if it truly was something important to you. You wouldn't just label it. You wouldn't define it. You wouldn't try to just mangle it up and say it's just that. We're in the middle of it. Why are you labeling it right now? You know? The spruce up, war crazy attitude, you know? But if you want to be in that way, you have a total right to, you know? I'm not calling against it. Just don't waste your time with me. Because I don't waste time. Whether it's something that seems bad and there's other people around it that seem, you know, like throw up, that's the way they're going to be. That's not going to change. It's not going to change. Let them live in their misery. That's what I always say. Especially if someone's not happy for you. Let them live in their misery. That's the one thing I've learned throughout this whole lifetime and throughout the last year or two. The last 2 years, what I've learned is you can't let judgment or disapproval sway how you feel. If you do, then you truly aren't going with your feelings. And if you are going with your feelings, you wouldn't have ever done those other feelings. You would have never felt those other feelings if you truly are going with your feelings. You were lying then. That's all I need to say about that. You were lying to yourself. You know, the lion's share of illusion, you know. You were making a lion's share of illusion of your life. The illusion was there the whole time, really. And I think, okay. When I hear practical too, it goes with that too, you know, being practical, you know. But practical doesn't mean it's the only way to act, you know. Think or speak, you know. It's not the only way to think or speak. To be really substantial, just really have to be yourself, you know. And it's true, you know. You have to think practical. No, you don't. Everybody's thought Patrick, practical. I mean, sorry, I said that wrong. Sorry, practical. You know, everyone's thought practical. I mean, literally, we could say Hitler thought practical. We could go back to Mussolini. We could go back to Nero. They all thought practical. Look at what actions happen when you think practical. You can actually kill billions and billions of people. You could ruin human life by thinking practical only. And I think that's one of the main issues that most people have, is that they don't want to look at other things in other ways. They love having that same thought so that they could hold it over other people. Even though they don't want to look at the facts of what has happened, they just want to say, well, you know, we have to think practical. We all have to think alike, you know? No, we don't. Sorry, but I don't agree with that, you know? I think that's your assimilation of character and trying to assimilate me. But I don't agree. I don't think we have to think practical. Because thinking practical actually has killed the most people for human life in general. At least in civilization's form. As a caveman, it works. Thinking practical for that, you know, needing the food, the lodgings, things like that, the territory, makes sense. Thinking practical doesn't just come back into form when you're living in a place like this. Is it practical to make people pay money for something that should be free? Is it practical to tax people when it's really coming from something else? Shouldn't the earth tax us, not the people? It doesn't make sense, because these technologies, whether they were built by humans, it was still built by the frame of what was here on earth already. You know, the houses that we see around built, they're mostly stuff that was put together, clumbered together. Most of it, not very much that needed to be together and didn't want to be together. Feel the bad energy from the house and lodging I'm living in. This is Pink Cloud Radio Room. But in the whole thing, it's actually all built by nature. So why wouldn't nature charge us, not you? That's not thinking practical. You're basically saying, I should get the money, even though this stuff didn't come out of my ass. I'm not the one who grew this stuff myself, or I'm not the one who practically made this altogether. It came through another form, but, you know, of course, if that form is living in the same way we are, then it could. But since it's, you know, dirt on the ground, or a tree, you know, it can't really charge you. So I will. That's your attitude towards it. That's your practical thought. My practical thought is, you're an asshole. That's just it. That's my practical thought, because I believe that if we're going to live better, we can't just charge everybody for everything. But that's a choice again. As usual, people will just say, oh, that's anarchy, that's anarchy. Okay. So what? Did the cavemen survive? Yes. Which means anarchy actually can work 100%. It can work more than 100%. Because we wouldn't be living right now if something like anarchy, in the sense of looking back at cavemen, didn't work. We wouldn't be alive to say that we didn't live this way before. We wouldn't be alive today if that were the case. And I think that's what's really the scapegoat of our generation, is that, most people think it's nihilism or something like that, where you hate humanity, you want to go out and burn buildings and destroy things. That's anarchy. That's not anarchy. That's not anarchy. It's getting rid of the systems that are prejudiced towards or use their power in ways for their own wealth, for their own prosperity in life, not for everybody else's. I can have electricity, but it's at a cost. And it shouldn't be, because how do I know it's at a cost for the people in power? Just because they tell us that they pay it? I don't go to everybody's house. I don't know this. Maybe there are people who don't even pay at all. Maybe there are people who have their own free energy. We don't know this. All the technology from Tesla and all that was taken from his home a few days after he died. So all that stuff that could have been, oh, we didn't want to use that, there was no money in that, doesn't mean that they didn't use it. It just means they wouldn't sell it to the public, because the public, they don't want to give them free anything. Well, we get free stuff at the shop sometimes. Oh, that's wonderful. But can you live on that every day? And do they do that every day? No. And I think that's what really is the testament of people's naivete. Although that's a strength, not a weakness. People say it's a weakness, but it's a strength. It's a mental means to prescribe yourself a medication, to say, well, I'll accept all this stuff. In a lot of ways, you're showing a strength to not fight against anything. That's naivete to me. That's what I've seen it as. When I've seen people use it, oh my God, they stay in a bad relationship. They don't trust their sensitivities and their instincts. Usually naivete is actually a show of strength, even though it's not a good sign of strength. Strength can have bads and goods, just as weaknesses can have bads and goods. Like people saying that I could be taken advantage of because of my kindness, my niceness, whatever. It doesn't matter. If someone doesn't have kindness or nice things in their life, nice people in their life, they're going to take advantage of me. I have no fault in that. If it wasn't me, it'd be somebody else. That's the truth. If someone hasn't been treated nice or kindly by anybody else, and then I'm the only one that does treat them nice and kindly, they're going to take advantage of that. And not on purpose, but because they've never experienced it before, but they don't know how to treat it, because they never were treated that way. So it's like me giving somebody a stuffed animal for just a gift or something, and them saying, oh, well, I don't know if I deserve this, and then leaving and never talking to me again. There you go. That could be the obvious truth, that they can't deal with that kind of kindness. They're used to the abuse. They're used to the slapping around, bitch. There you go, motherfucker. So I'm stuck in this hellhole of a life with people, and I have no purpose here, because people don't want any purpose. Or, more likely, their purpose was destroyed by somebody else or something else. And they made another purpose in their life, and it's useless purpose. It's as long as it's unimportant, you won't have any problems in life. Purpose. And I think, like me being substantial with everything, that's why I talk 45 minutes. Because there's substantial in everything. And if you don't want to see it, then you don't have to listen to it, The good part is, not many people are viewing this. Which means that what I say is actually has grounds in truth, It has nothing to do with anybody else that's out there that's trying to make it a media propaganda thing where they have to get popular because of it, I don't need to get popular because of it. I'm not saying I won't switch it up, I won't use different means, because I do different communication all the time. But I'm going to still do it my way. And there's still going to be that loss of spirit of understanding versus dealing with the truth. And the truth is, it doesn't matter if you see a spiritual element to everything or don't. It's a matter if you have an interest in who you are. If you don't, what's the point of living? You have no point in living if you have no interest in who you are as a person. Not to say that you have to grow every single second, or that you can't step away from that. There's a ton of things in this life that aren't about entertainment only. Everything is not about entertainment. In fact, if you look at it a different way, if you take it seriously enough, everything is more than entertainment. Reading a book, writing, running, movies. Everything you could think of has a different element. But it matters if you want to take it as a grand time, or you want to take it as something more. If you want to take it as something more, that's great. As myself, I think that the best conclusion to what I see is finding what I see. What do I see? Is it what I see, or is it put there for a reason? To make me think a certain way about it. To make me see it a certain way, As such, it can be done. As such is done. As the past has shown, we've had corruption come out in many forms. Yet we still believe the same things that showed that corruption. Yet we believe the same things that showed things a certain way. That's what I think is so funny. When I hear people say that everybody would get theirs, yeah, you're going to get yours too, because you ignored that bad that they did, and you're still taking them seriously. Who's going to get it worse? You think those people in power are going to get it worse? No, you're allowing them to stay in power forever. No matter what kind of name they have, you decide that they stay in power after that? You don't care about anything. Everybody's going to get there, it's alright. As I said, what made the Roman Empire fall? The people. Woo! The people decided that for themselves. Because they saw that thing, and they didn't do a single thing. Well, I can't be responsible for that. Then what's the point of democracy? What's the point of a real democracy, in fact? Because most democracies have failed. It's been the most failed system ever. So, when you're spoiled, and you don't want to do anything, it's kind of pointless to have a democracy then. In a lot of ways, it's one of those pointless ones, especially because humans are in the sedentary mode at the time of the democracy. At that point, Republic isn't, but that's a different story. And I think I love how people say it's the things I don't know about you that turn me off from you. Well, one of my favorites right here. One of my favorites. I love when people say that. It's what I don't know about you that turns me off from you. Wrong. I think that's one thing that really doesn't really make me upset, but it makes me understand things differently about people. That they like bringing up things they don't know, and they like using that as a means to scapegoat. Just like with aliens, UFOs, things like that. You could bring it up in that way. There's never been an alien invasion and any aliens coming to kill us. Even back in the 50s when so-called it happened, Area 51, still didn't happen. There was no attack. And I think that's what I'm learning, that the easiest thing to do is to scapegoat something unknown. Is to label something unknown. Just label it bad. There you go. And I think that's the easiest thing to do. I mean, that's why you have a lot of protest groups and people in groups and such. Communist, fascist. Yes, of course. But the ones who say it are the ones who play it. That's what I've learned. The ones who say it the most are the ones who play it. Woo! And it's true. So it's most of the people that say those words, that shout those words, that are turning into those. They're turning into that herd of people. That herd of people that are fascist, communistic, whatever you want to call it. Those are very powerful elements. So to start labeling other people that, other people who are outside of the realm of thought that you have already right there, you've now locked in the kind of measure you're going to take away their power, to take away the individual power in people, is to label them. Well, what do you think you're doing right there? You're not giving me power to have my view. If I had an agenda with it, if I wanted to destroy the world with it, I would have tried to destroy the world. I wouldn't waste the time talking to you about it, going to protest groups, going to rallies. Why would I waste the time to do all that stuff if I actually just wanted to go bomb something? If in fact that was true intent. A true intent doesn't come through many submergent attitudes. It comes right forward. So I think in our attitudes towards the gracefulness of people, we don't really think. We just say, I'm better. And then that's it. The rest of the people must be horrible pricks. And that's what takes our advantages for grief, Well, we lost people. Yeah, so did they. Well, it doesn't matter what they lost. We lost people. And there you go. How very hypocritical of you, you know? No, that's not true, though. About, it's what I don't know about you. No, that's not true. It's what you know about me that's turned you off from me. Mystery cannot turn you off unless it's not a mystery to you. Unless you've experienced it before. Then I understand your element. But then again, you're starting to judge me the same way as that person, as if I was the exact same duplicate. Every single part of that person. Which I may not be at all. I may have that kind of disconnection from you, but that's not the point. If you're going to judge me the exact same way, then you're saying I do the exact same things. And I think that's what really is the loss of most people's, not integrity, I don't care for that. Not morality, because I wouldn't care for that either. Not anything, really. It's what they lose based on their own assimilation of character. Because they don't want to build their own character by themselves. They want to use everybody else, all the means around them, high school, junior high, everything. I didn't have that. I don't have that luxury. Because most people stopped being my friend after I didn't start listening to them 100%. And I was glad I didn't. Because it showed to me that there was nothing else left in those people that truly liked me. So why would I want to be with somebody that doesn't truly like me, even as a friendship? If you don't like me, just say it. Don't worry, I'll be gone. But if you don't like me because of what somebody else thinks about you, then I'm sorry, but if you don't think my feelings are stronger in accepting you as a person versus what that person has said, or that family member has said, or that friend has said, or that somebody else has said, or that dog has said, then it doesn't matter what I said. Ever. Because that took over anything I've ever said. And I think, mystery of a person. I have told many friends and potential girlfriends there is a ton of mystery about me. You don't know, though, it was who I was that turned them off, Even if they tried to explain that it was what they didn't know, maybe it was what I didn't know about them that they didn't want to tell me. In a lot of ways that could be it too. Maybe somebody telling you, it's what I don't know about you is actually a reverse. It could be that it's what I don't know about you. And maybe it's stuff you don't want to tell me at all. And in a lot of ways, a lot of people believe that most people that they have to be with have to be an open person, someone they could be open with. Correct? That's our ideal. Is that we want to be with somebody who we could be open with. But is that true? Or is that a lie that we build ourselves? That we have to be with somebody that we truly can be open with? Sometimes people just don't want to be open with people in general. And they have a better personality when they're not open with somebody else. And I think that's what really happens with what we don't have. If you're going to be upset with somebody, if you're going to have a kind of agenda, a kind of thought, then already you're showing that you're not thinking practical on what you want. That you're always going to attack somebody because they're not being like you. Or they're not having the same kind of issues as you. But do they have to? I don't think they have to. And I think that's what I've learned about life in general. That most people think that they have to have an obvious connection to somebody. Maybe your obvious connection isn't so obvious. That's what I've learned about it. And I think that's what I mean by, people saying that there is some kind of thought that has to be the same. Not really, We don't have to think the exact same way to be together. We just have to understand that we think in different ways, I don't really offer rationalization, logic, reason, because all those really only interpret so many goals. There's only so many goals in that. I could never think rationally because I don't think thinking rationally ever really solves anything. We have to think positively, understanding, and thinking that we know the differences with each other, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna push you down a hole because you're not doing something my way. The fuck is that shit? I mean, it's like the if-or boundary, Is it if or is it or? No, let's get the fuck out of here, whore. Because if I were to tell you, you can't hang out with those friends, you can't do this, that, the other. If I were to start acting as such, then what's the point? what do I gain from stopping somebody else, even if it's somebody that I'm with? I think that's what I've really learned about my life in general. And that's the same reason why when I just talked about, having somebody say like, "Oh, it's what I don't know about you," then you don't want to know about me. You clearly don't want to know about me if right now you're saying you're turned off by what you don't know about me. Right there, that proves that you're not that you're not interested in anything about me. And that's fine. You don't have to be, I would never force somebody to just say, "Hey, you got to know about me," and that's it. And I think that's the problem too, is that a lot of people like force. They like the force because that means that they can actually have something that they're indebted to, even if they're personally not. Like, if it's a choice, they choose against, because, it's the same old thing of like, why would I pick you if I don't have to? Because you want to. That's what I'd say. Because I truly think it is a want. And it's a want to want. So you obviously have wants, and if your want is not with me, I'm not saying you can't have other wants in the way of like your regular life, what you enjoy to do on your free time, your hobbies, your habits. Those kind of things are different. But if your hobby and habits is having sex and options, then don't even think about it. That's your hobby and habit. It's fine, No one can distrust or disable that kind of impact you want in your life. You want that impact. Duh. And if you can find anything else special, it's not because the other person not finding it for you. It's because you're not finding it for yourself. And I think that's what I've learned about this elongated path that has happened in life with a lot of people. They get upset with you because you're not finding it for them. But I can't find your answers. No matter even if I try, I would never find your answers. I would find you always upset because there's not a 100% answer. And that's the thing about a lot of life, that people want 100%. Give me a yes or no. Sorry, I don't even like math the way it is. Because most science, now I should say, is based on a principle that they don't want to break from the same methods. But that's not real science. Real science breaks from methods, and it goes toward other means. But mostly it's been because of not agreeing to have free energy that they've disagreed with certain sciences and said, no, that's a fake science right there. They lie about it and say that they used higher temperatures when they didn't at all. And I think a lot of people just believe it, like, oh yeah, because why would scientists lie? Yes, of course. Scientists never lie in history. It's perfect. And I think that's an indubitable spirit right there, to believe that somebody in a position of power just doesn't lie. No, they're not lying at all. Why would they lie? Why wouldn't they? They're in that power, It's just like people in power in history before. It's so funny that people believe now, unlike before. Well, they did before too, but it's funny that after seeing those histories that they're not going to repeat themselves anymore. Nah, they wouldn't do that anymore. Hey, if you're going to do it, why wouldn't they? If you're going to lie, why wouldn't they lie? Because people would find out. Why? Why would they want to? Why would people want to find out? A lot of people give up on people at the wrong times. Too late, too early. That kind of stuff, I don't think I've ever given up on people. It's just that, honestly, I don't know what to say. In the last year, yeah. Since maybe at the end of April last year, I've been in the state of middle of nowhere. I've tried, I've tried to do other things, but it's enjoyable, I enjoy it. Running, writing, reading, Pink Cloud Radio, a lot of music CDs. Just got a new one, Spiritual Front, right now. Everything here. You got it. Poetry. Everything that I'm doing is something I'm doing. It may not be accommodating for myself. There are a lot of things that I feel left out of. But I kind of left myself out of a lot of things because I don't know what to say anymore. Even saying hi, I don't know what to say. Truly mean that. It's kind of scary that I don't even know what to say hi. Even people I need to talk to, I don't talk to, It's come to a point where I'll answer the phone, I'll answer a text, but I won't initiate anymore. Because I've tried so many years to initiate. And I didn't need anything out of it. But I didn't need to be treated like shit because of it either. If you're not satisfied, if you're not fulfilled, you have to say it. And I think that's the one thing that I've learned about. Like, just a lot of people giving up on people at the wrong time. Like, it's never really been about that. Like, if you want to do something, if you want to make a different choice, you can't keep both. That's what I've learned. Woo! And you have to let one go. 100%. You can't be bothered by anything. You can't cry. You can't do anything like that. No. Because if you truly want that person in your life, you let that other person go. To a point, this is the open wounds of life. If you accept your emotions, feelings, sensitivities, you know one thing. You can't push somebody else into one category and then change that category. If you want to truly change that category, change it. But don't let them hang on by a coattail. This is your life, which means you have to consider it your own. But you can't just separate yourself from the incidents that occur outside of your house, outside of your own frame of body and spirit and mind and heart. There's a lot more that you do with your heart and mind outside than you could ever inside. That you don't take responsibility for? 100% you don't. But I take in too late and too early, and I've taken responsibility for it. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I take responsibility for what happened in the past, but that's because I have no choice. I want to feel better. So the only way I can feel better is taking some responsibility for that. You know? And a lot of times it's because people are so selfless that they become very selfish. It happens. It's the worst kind of selfishness, is when you're selfless and you expect something in return from it. I mean, I've said that to people before and they're like, no, I don't expect anything. Really? You sure sound like it. You don't sound like a person who seems very happy that they're being selfless. You know, rich and people can buy whatever they want. But what is behind that wealth? Nothing very spiritual. Everyone is concerned with the material. You know, when it comes down to it, rich and everything, the wealth of a nation, anything like that. When we look back at Godzilla in 1985, for example, or Godzilla, the Return of Godzilla, I guess you could call it. It was basically about that, about the wealth of a nation. And then Godzilla tore it down. So just like in life, is there anything behind the material? No, nothing much. I mean, it's a nice ideal. It's great, you know, it's great that you can invest yourself into something that may actually have some value to you in your life. But outside of that realm, is there anything else behind that? Not really. Sadly, there isn't much in it, even. And I think that's what I've learned about a lot of like people can buy whatever they want, you know. Well, that's wonderful, you know, as long as it's unimportant too, you know, it's very wonderful. It makes life easy for a lot of people. Like, you know, they can buy anything they want as long as it doesn't matter to anybody else what they're doing. You know, I think that's what really counts between, like, what's been happening in the world and how we kind of fragment our views based on it. Like, say, oh, well, we'll think this way. As long as we can buy a nice CD player, a nice iPod, you know, we'll cultivate our thoughts and keep it to ourselves. As long as we can have that. But that doesn't really last that long. I mean, it can. It's great. Technology can be a great lightsaver. But it can also be a death saver. It can also be a death. Because you can accept certain precautions of life and certain ideals, but you can't, like, invest yourself into something unless you truly care about it and get something out of it. Do you get something out of, you know, buying something? Do you get something out of the material that doesn't make you have it, that makes you have a freer thought, a freer life in living? Or does it just make you happy for that weekend? You know, what was it? You can kiss ass all the time and then get what you want on the weekend. It's true, but it doesn't make you happy, you know. It doesn't make you think any more clearer or have any other thought except of what you have to do. And I think that's what really has happened, like, in in what we do, even in our normal lives, in our personal lives now. You know, the problem with a lot of what people think in that way is that they do it in their normal lives too. They don't just stop when they get out from work. You know, if you kind of have to change who you are, where you are, what you are, then you're already lying. You're lying to everybody. You're lying to the face of the people that you go to at home. You're lying to the face of the people you go to at work. You're lying to the face of the people you hang out with. That you're basically saying, I'm different everywhere. Different with every person is different from being different everywhere. You know? Like me, I'm not different anywhere. I'm here. I'm here the same, I'm there the same, I'm everywhere the same. If you give me the time, I'll be the same there too. But if I want to listen to you, I'm going to listen to you. Give you the floor and hear this speech anymore. And I think that's what it is. It's like a burned up face, you know? And I think everyone has willpower, you know? When I really think about willpower, I think everyone has willpower. You know, because I always hear that, you know, oh, does this person have willpower? You know, people bring up willpower. Like, nobody has willpower anymore. I don't agree. I think everyone has willpower. If not, they could not get up from bed and do a single thing all day. Do they want to use that willpower for certain things and situations in life? Is something different. That's different. That's a choice right there. If you don't want to use your willpower for something good, or something influential, or something grandiose in a positive nature, or something like that, or something for your passion in life instead of your revenge and bullying, is a choice. It's a very different thing from saying that, you know, no one has willpower anymore. No one, willpower, you know, laughing about it. That means that you truly don't look at more things than just what you see, and you expect it to be exactly how you see it. Oh, see, that's not a bully. That person should be stronger right there. You blame the person who gets hurt. Well, that's a wonderful person right there. I see a very caring person right here. One person who, you know, really takes advantage of somebody who's nice, just as much as a bully does right there. What a wonderful person you are. I think that's what I've learned. Like, people say, like, you can't be taken advantage of, but it's mostly the people that say that are taking advantage of the worst, that are doing the worst damage, because they're the ones taking advantage of the person who's being taken advantage of. You know, it's like a three-way circus, you know? You have the person who's the bully and revenge and using what they can against somebody else and taking advantage of their kindness. And then you have the person who states that and says, yeah, you're being taken advantage of. You're taking advantage of that person the worst. Because you're basically saying you can't be nice. I think that's what I've learned. That no matter what, if I'm taken advantage of or not, it is my choice to be in that situation, isn't it? Yes. Is it my choice to have people in my life? Yes. Is it my choice to not have people in my life? Yes. Is it easy to blame somebody else for that? Oh yeah. And that's when I know a friendship is really over. Is when people start saying that, oh, well, you're letting somebody else win. Okay. If I was letting somebody else win, I would have said what they said. I wouldn't have waited for them to say it. Which means that I don't believe what they say. And that's hard to say for me, because I wish I could make it that easy for myself. I wish I could just say, hate humanity, hate everything in the world. I wish I could say that so easily. I wish I could. But I'm not that way. And I'm never going to be that way. If you're unhappy with me, if you miss me, say it. I'm not asking for anybody to be with me, but I'm asking for you to be clear about what you say. If you don't want to be, if you want to be hostile towards me, then you're going to lose me very quickly. I'm not a person who takes kindly to somebody saying, I'm going to hide my emotions here. Sorry, I'm being crystal clear here. I don't ask for anything. I don't need you to be there in that way. But you need to be clear about the fact, and I need to be clear about one thing for myself, that my feelings can always stay strong, even if you don't feel the same way. And I think that's the issue with a lot of people. They don't want to disappoint anybody. But you disappoint me more by putting me down for my feelings, because that's what you're basically doing. You're basically saying, oh, you're not the same person, Marcello. Actually, I'm the exact same person. I'm sorry if these other people aren't the exact same as me. But I feel the same way. If I felt somebody else's way, I wouldn't even waste the time to ignore, to not say anything. I wouldn't waste the time to talk to you the same way, or joke around, or try to have some communication that's somehow normal without alerting the facts of how I feel. I wouldn't use all those means of communication or non-communication, if I truly just wanted to say, fuck you, you're a bitch, you know. If I wanted to say that stuff, I'd say it. I don't have anything roaming in my head. That's the one thing that I don't have, is anything roaming in my head. I don't have my head in the clouds. I am the clouds. As all of you should know out there, I am the clouds. You know, I wish it was easy enough to say one way or the other way, but it's not. Mostly because there's nothing to look at any one way or the other way. And I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people to learn, that they don't really want to they don't really want to have to deal with somebody who thinks differently. They're not used to that. You know, they're not used to somebody who actually accepts them, who doesn't expect anything from them, and who doesn't have anticipation. Some marry it, some marry us not. And I think that's what really matters there, is that we try to define our qualities based on what we experienced before. But if you gotta know that I'm a different kind of person, it kind of means that I'm a different kind of person with everything, not just one thing. And I think that's what really has changed a lot of people's attitude towards me, and that's why they're gone. In their own way. Many times they left on their own, you know. And they tried to hang out again. They tried to do something once or twice from a few. It didn't work. But it didn't work because I didn't know what to say. Because I didn't want to have to deal with something that I truly am not pushing on them. If I'm not pushing something on you every single second, it means I'm not pushing it on you. It means I'm not pushing it on you. I'm not even telling you. You have to ask me. Which means that I'm not telling you. And I think that's what really shows that I can be stronger than that, at least. I could be as weak as that. Yes, I apologize that my weaknesses show all my feelings. But I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get you. I'm doing it because this is the kind of person I've always been. You know, and I think that's what really gets in a lot of people's heads, is that they think that there's something more to it, when there never is. I think that's the one thing I've learned, is that there's always this kind of, you know, one-way thinking. You know, it's the same thing that goes back to drama, you know, saying drama, you know. It really is that over again, because it's like using the way of one thought and saying that it's a bad way to think. That if I were to feel certain feelings, it's already showing that I'm a bad person. That I'm a bad person because I feel those feelings. You know, and I think that's what I've learned throughout, like, my life, that a lot of people just like using feelings against people. Even if, like, especially if they don't like feelings. That's one of my favorites. That people will use, like, feelings against people because they don't like feelings. Then I'm not going to spend time with you, you know. That's one thing I've learned, and I've learned it well, you know. I could hang out with people and, you know, be butchered to death. But, you know, if a friendship won't last, it won't last because of that. Because I accepted my feelings a long-ass time ago. I've accepted your feelings because I've accepted mine. But if you don't accept the fact that we're going to have different feelings, what's the point? You know? What's the point? And I think that's what I've learned throughout my whole lifetime, that we're here to not, you know, critically analyze through words, through justifying and defining what a thing is. Oh, that's, you said, this is so much drama here. This is so much drama here. Why are you making so much drama? You know, and I think that's what really kind of makes people move away. It made me move away from a lot of things, but it's because I felt like, is this a joke, you know? You know, I don't have my head in the clouds about things, but my head, you know, I am the clouds. I am the clouds. You know, I am the clouds out there. If you want to ignore me, you can ignore me, but, you know, if I was going to be with everybody, I would have been with everybody. If I was going to act a certain way, I would have acted a certain way. You know, and I think that's what really I've learned throughout my life, that a lot of people like blaming people for other people's ideas and way of thinking. Like, so, that's why they say, like, things, oh, why are you making so much drama? because they don't want to deal with the fact that everybody thinks differently. They like using somebody else's motives as your own. So my motive is not my grandmother's, not my friends, not my brother, not my family's, not my dogs. My motives are different. They're never against them, they're never for them. They're never against me or for me. We'll see how it works. If it works for something together, then that's wonderful. I'm looking for something together. Not for or against, for something together. And if it works together, whether it's a friendship or anything else, then it's a great thing. If it does not, then the cancellation has been done. And don't try to use somebody else's mental state to frame my mind. I am the clouds. I'm proud to be the clouds, and, I love you all out there. Take care.